All right, good evening. Good evening, Mallory. Welcome to Teen Talk Live. I am your host,
Hello.
Dillard, and I'm so glad that you are here with me tonight. Welcome.
Thank you. I am super, super excited too. I've been a longtime fan of you, as you know. So when you reached out, I was like, Miss Ann wants me to come on.
And I have been following you, and I stalk your videos. True confession, because you do such amazing work as a teen therapist, and I just really admire the things that you do. So would you take a moment and introduce yourself to my audience and let them know who you are and what do you do?
Yes, absolutely. So my name is Mallory Grimste. I am an LCSW, or licensed clinical social worker, that's licensed to practice in the state of Connecticut. And I specialize primarily in helping teenagers who are struggling with their mental health. So whether that is depression, anxiety, self-harm, or just confidence in general, we help them learn the skills that they need so that they can build up those confidence and connections that keep us from feeling so isolated and alone, which is really important right now.
Very, very important. I mean, it's important on the regular day as a teenager, but with the state of what's going on in the entire world, it is so important. And what you do is so, so important. So again, thank you for that. And thank you for being on Teen Talk Live.
Yes, I'm really, really excited to be here.
Awesome. So our plan was to air this live. However, we were having some technical difficulties, but that's not stopping us. This is really critical information that I know you have to share with teens, not just teens, but tonight we're specifically focusing on seniors, like high school seniors, college seniors, and their families, and helping them to navigate how to deal with the disappointment that's going on in the world today and the disruption to their lives. So when I talk about that, and I think I shared with you earlier, Mallory, that this is really personal to me because my son is a college senior. And this is a really difficult time for him. And it's one of those things that as a mom, I cannot fix. I cannot fix it, right? So I've watched him work hard for these 3.5 years. And I mean, we're coming up to the big commencement and celebration of his accomplishment. And then the rug was just like, pull right from under him. Talk to us about it and talk to our teens who are going through something similar.
Yeah, I know it is really impacting a lot of people. I know particularly for seniors, whether they are in middle school, high school, or college, like any of these grades that are promoting to the next level, the next step, um, they don't have the gift of time in the sense of, well, next year,
Right.
because they've achieved their educational goals. One of the benefits, I have to say, is that this is a unique experience for this particular generation going through this,
Yeah.
because everybody across the board is being affected. I think this is a little bit different than like when Hurricane Katrina hit here. That was just a pocket of a population. So that in and of itself is really disconnecting. This is affecting everybody at this level, which doesn't necessarily make it feel better, but it could.
Right. 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 And just there is something to the fact when you know you're not alone,
Yes.
it kind of normalizes stuff, if normal is a word that we could even use in this space, right?
You know, I just had a session with somebody today, and I was like, "Ooh, can I steal that phrase for the future?" Because they had mentioned about going back to normal, and I was like, "Do you want to go back to normal?" Because I don't know that that was working either, given the situation that they were talking about. And then they came back with this genius phrase, well, a better normal. And I was like, yes,
Ah,
yes.
that's
We can get a
exciting.
better normal. That would be great.
That's exciting and that's encouraging, right? And right now, in all phases of society, we're forced to discover or create better normals.
Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So as we talk to our teens or our young adults at those transitional stages and those landmark stages, what are some of the things that you are seeing in your practice?
Yeah. So I'm seeing there's actually a lot of reactions that I think are really typical when something is out of our control. And so I didn't say this in the beginning, but if you're not familiar with the way I work, I am heavily informed by a therapy model called DBT, or dialectical behavior therapy. And one of the basic core tenets of that is this idea that two realities or experiences that seem like they shouldn't exist at the same time can absolutely be true at the same time. And one of those dialectical concepts is being able to balance what's called radical acceptance of the situation. It is what it is currently, and enhancing and eliciting change. So, like, how do you navigate accepting and change at the same time? And I think that's what is happening right now for seniors in general, because there's a lot that's out of their control. It is what it is. There's a very real health crisis out there. And so it is having an impact. We can't control the timing of this. We still don't have complete answers. We're getting there each and every day. So how do you accept that and also navigate changing the situation so that you're not staying stuck?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, those two concepts, they almost contradict each other.
Yeah.
But
And yet they exist at the same time.
and they can coexist, right? And I think that is such a great point that you brought up, because I think sometimes we just need permission to allow those things to coexist.
Yes.
And so I think part of what I would like our seniors or our transitional youth to take away from this show is permission to be in both, to hold both spaces at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have several ways that they can do this. And
Awesome.
even if you're a parent or somebody who works with teens, like, I use these too.
Yes.
You don't have to be a teenager to get the benefits, but it's particularly applicable to these, I like what you call them, transitional youth right now.
Yes.
Yeah. So one of my very first recommendations to consider is to stop shoulding on yourself. So stop saying, this is the way it should be. It shouldn't happen this way. Because should language keeps us stuck, because then we're just focusing on what isn't happening. And it's okay to acknowledge that and give that space to feel whatever you're feeling. But to continue to reiterate should, you're just gonna feel crappy, because there is no way out of should, because it's not what's happening. So something that you can do instead is, when you find yourself in should language, it's usually you're saying things like, I have to, or it should be this. Changing that have to I get to. It's a little mindset shift. So instead of I have to finish college without graduating, if you say I get to finish college without graduating, still not great, but it puts you in a position of control and ownership. Like, I get to control the outcome here, not this other stuff. So
wow. That is awesome, because I'm big on focusing on what you can control.
Yes.
And so that language you can control, that shift in mindset you can control, and then you can create a better normal, right?
Yes.
I love it.
So great, right?
I love it.
Yeah, I usually use the example for that of like working out because I'm so guilty of, oh, I should exercise today, and then I lay in bed all morning and then I'm like, oh, later. But if I change it to I get to exercise today, I'm like, I'm pretty blessed, but I still have this opportunity.
Yes, what a privilege.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So when May 24th comes, and that is when my son is probably going to say, I should be walking across the stage now.
Mhm.
I can help change his language by saying, well, you get to celebrate at a later date, or you get to,
Yeah, he still gets to graduate.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Okay.
still gets a degree.
Yeah. You get,
Mhm.
okay. So I have to work on it so it can be real impactful.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure he'll tell you. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. What else you got for us?
Well, that kind of leads me into my next point, which is when you find yourself stuck in what isn't, or what should be, or what could be, um, to shift that and to change that a little bit to, okay, what is the opportunity here? Um,
Mm,
Yeah, so just because something uncomfortable is happening
yeah.
or difficult or disappointing, it doesn't mean that your only option is to stay at that level. There could be some other opportunity that you may not have considered before.
Oh, okay. Okay. That makes sense. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. Okay. What's the opportunity here? So it's kind of like silver lining it, right? Looking for the
Yeah.
silver lining.
Hmm.
Got it.
Yeah. So, I mean, to some degree, there could be some opportunity. And I know that a lot of universities and colleges and high schools, they all tend to, there's only so many weekends in May and June, right? And so if you have multiple family members or multiple situations going over, um, it's almost like wedding season. Like you have to
Yeah.
pick and choose
Which one you
which
go
weekend
to?
you're going, you know?
Yes.
So
Yes.
now you get a choice of when you get to celebrate that, which is pretty cool. So you can do it on your own timeline with
That's
the people
cool.
that you want. You don't have to sit through all those people
You
necessarily.
know, especially if you're in a big university and they have 2,500 students graduating,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. All right. So look for the opportunity.
Yeah. And I imagine, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm pretty considerate that a lot of these universities and colleges aren't going to just totally close the door on some of these seniors. I think that they're probably going to get creative in giving another opportunity to walk.
Yes, I think for my son's school, he goes to school in Minnesota. They said something about celebrating next spring prior to the class of 2021. They'll
Yeah,
have a celebration. So it'll be interesting to see
yeah,
all the creative things, we get an opportunity to experience.
yeah. That's actually kind of nice too, because then, a year out after graduation, you can kind of reconnect with people and be like, where are
Yeah,
you at in life?
yeah. So yeah, I
Yeah,
like that. I like that.
nice.
Okay.
Mhm. And then I know you already mentioned about looking for control in the situations. Um, I do think that there's some benefit from acknowledging the areas that we can't control. Because I think
Mm.
when we don't, they have a way of shouting at us.
Like, hello, pay attention to
Yeah,
me.
yeah. It's almost like, like the toddler that's not being paid attention to. Like
Yeah.
they could be in the car and, singing, and they just kind of get incrementally louder until you acknowledge them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Good
some
analogy.
teenagers do that too.
Yes. Hello, I'm here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, acknowledging what's not in our control can also open us up to what is in our control.
Mm.
And
Okay.
then from there, you can make decisions and make plans on how can you improve those areas.
Right.
So I think we were just talking about, we can't control the timing of this, right? And we still don't know an exact timeline of when this will be, I say in quotes, over.
Yeah.
Because it's tough to define that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, is it over when we can go back to our offices? Is it over when we're done with our grieving process? Like,
Yeah.
lots of questions with that.
Lots of questions, lots of ambiguity, lots of, just the space that is lots of uncertainties, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So focusing on what is in our control, identifying what's not in our control and what is in our control, that can help us not, staying in our heads and thinking that we should be doing something about something we have no control over.
Yeah, and
That's,
there is a really fun game that I like to play with my teen girl therapy group sometimes that incorporates this idea of seeking out the control and also where is the opportunity. I call it the what if game, and we all play it. It's
okay.
basically where you go through, and sometimes you get a little silly with it, which I totally encourage. So you basically start off with like, what if worst case scenarios? Like, what if I never get to walk? What if this isn't over by next year? Like, you just kind of go down the negative rabbit hole for a little bit. I recommend putting a timer on it, like no more than 10 minutes, because you can get really down that rabbit hole. But even like 3 minutes is fine. And then when you're done with that and you've kind of gotten that process out of your head and your body and your emotions,
Yeah.
then you consider what are all the neutral what ifs, like things that don't necessarily have any big charge for you. And that's going to be different for different people. So it could be, what if this is done next month or something like that?
Yeah.
Something that's not going to have like too big of an impact.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then this next part is the part that we usually stop at these what ifs, and then we get stuck, or we just stay like really sad and depressed and disappointed.
Yeah.
But then you go to the what if, like best case scenario. So what if not only do I get to walk next year with my class, but I meet the love of my life there, or like, what if this leads to my perfect dream job? What if, and like you can go like really, really silly with it, because we kind of do this with the negative what ifs. We go to these catastrophe states.
Yes.
Aren't always reasonable, but for some reason we're like, it could happen. Like, what if this is a zombie apocalypse? And it's like, maybe like a 0.1% chance.
Right. But I have a good one for you. What if the government forgives all the student loans for all the seniors?
Yes.
That would be so amazing. And their parents too. Yes.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. I have a positive what if of like, what if we get universal health care out of this? I don't know that that's super realistic, but I'm going to fantasy land.
Exactly. Why not?
Yeah.
I like that. I like
you can
that.
just run wild with it, which is, they always have a lot of fun at that part. And sometimes I have to be like, okay, we need to like bring it back down. Back to reality a little bit.
Right.
Yeah. But it really helps to acknowledge all levels of that what if, not just the negative, not just the problematic areas, not just the like, okay, so what, but also letting your mind go a little wild and acknowledge these positive what ifs, these positive impacts, these really great benefits, because it takes a little bit for your mind to get into that flow and that mode.
Yes.
because we're not primed for that.
No, we're not.
Yeah. So I
We're not.
usually recommend, if you're going to be doing that and using the timer method, like I said, hang in there for double the time for the positive, because it'll take a little bit to get going because we're not used to it. But once you get into that flow, it's going to be hard to stop.
Yes, yes, because I mean, it's going over and over in my head. I'm thinking all these what if thoughts, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh my gosh, that what if that happens? What if that happens? Yeah, I like the timer thing. So if you do 3 minutes for the negative, do at least 6 minutes for the wild positives.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool, cool, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have at least one more that you can share with us?
That was perfect because I have one more on my list. So the last thing that I just wanted to mention is that sometimes when we're feeling really disappointed, potentially depressed, anxious, whatever big, uncomfortable emotional experience we're having, it's really easy to want to go to the place of not acknowledging it and shutting it down, which we already talked about makes it scream.
Yes.
It doesn't like to go unnoticed. So if you can acknowledge it and extend some, what I call self-compassion, that reminding yourself that this is hard, this is not okay, this is disappointing, this is not the way it was supposed to be. And you are a human being and you're allowed to have an emotional reaction. You're allowed to feel whatever you want or need to feel in this moment. And then that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to just validate yourself. Your emotional experience is real and valid.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. And that's important because a lot of times, you know, we don't want to go full negative, or we think it's full on negative, and we're like, no, I'm all right. I'm all right. No, you're disappointed. Let's identify those feelings, because if not, they get trapped, right? And they come out in different ways. At least if you acknowledge them. And I would add to what you've said, and maybe you need someone to help you walk through them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
A therapist is a great way to get connected. And right now, there are so many therapists all over the place that are doing, like on this virtual telehealth, because of the safety factor. So they're out there, they're accepting clients and appointments.
absolutely. And tell the people, how can they reach you, Mallory?
Thank you. I am on a lot of social media because I really enjoy that. I'm a little nerdy. So I am at Mallory Grimste on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I have new videos that are all mental health related for teenage issues every Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern. So make sure to go to the YouTube channel. I'm going to be annoying for a minute. Hit the subscribe button and click that bell so you get notified every time. It does help spread the message. And the whole point is to get this help to people who need it.
That's so important. And after we post this video, I would love for you to go in the comments and just drop your links there so that people can connect with you, because you know what? We need hope. I know teens and transitional youths, they need some hope, and sometimes they can't find it in their immediate circle. So I'm going to encourage you all to not go through this alone. Seek the help of a mental health therapist or a coach. Or if you don't have that, reach out to your youth pastor or somebody, a mentor, somebody in your community to help you walk through this challenging time. And you know what? You have a right to be disappointed, right? And after that, let's figure out how we can make the best of it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Any final words to our audience?
I just want to mention also that in the United States, if you are in crisis during this time, you can 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, text the National Crisis Text Line. It's really easy. It's 741-741. So even if you can't get in touch with somebody right away, you can get in touch with them.
That is so important. 741-741, right? Text
Yep.
741-741, and that's the National Crisis Line if you just need somebody to connect with immediately. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Mallory, for being here on Teen Talk Live as we kick off this series. And I just hope that somebody who's watching this is really inspired to use some of these solutions and these DBT skills that you have taught us this evening. And I'm just really honored and excited to be on this, sharing the stage with you.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Again, this has been Ann Dillard, licensed marriage and family therapist. I'm licensed in Minnesota, I'm licensed in Georgia, and I'm licensed in New Jersey. And if you need support, reach out and we will be happy to serve you. Thank you for joining this episode of Teen Talk Live. Catch you next time. Bye-bye.